All right, let's get real for a second, because if you'd asked me 2 years ago if I'd ever find myself out shooting a Navy SEAL with a half dozen of his teammates watching, I would have told you to get your head checked. No joke, but life's got a way of shoving you into the spotlight when you least expect it, and sometimes you've got to decide right there if you're going to step up or shrink back. You know what I mean? So there I was, crouched at the 500-yard line at Oceanside Range, swapping out busted-up silhouettes, just minding my business, when I caught the sound of shouting coming from the firing position's voices, sharp, frustrated, that low burn of ego and embarrassment. I wasn't supposed to care. I usually kept invisible during military bookings, but you could practically feel the tension pulsing through the dust. Turns out, the SEALs were training that morning, all business in their matte black SUVs, gear for days, and the kind of presence that makes you want to sit up straight. Their new guy, Rodriguez, was having a meltdown. I'm telling you, there's something off with this rifle. He snapped, slamming it down so hard I flinched from 100 yards out, and even though I tried to ignore it, habit had me watching him, catching the tiny mistakes, the too tight grip, the way he jerked the trigger like he was punching a vending machine, not firing a precision weapon. His shots scattered wide like buckshot, not a tight group in sight. But nobody was helping him, not really, just some jokes, a lot of muttering, and only Chief Sullivan, their team leader, actually watching with those narrowed eyes that say he misses nothing. Then Rodriguez blames the rifle again, and, God help me, I call out before I can stop myself. The rifle's fine. You're pulling your shots left because you're anticipating the recoil, and everything goes dead silent, like I just dropped a grenade into the middle of their world. Every head swings my way, and let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the feeling of 8 elite operators sizing up a 23-year-old college student in beat-up range gear like I'm the entertainment. I wanted to crawl under the targets, disappear, but the words were out, and there was no stuffing them back. I grew up around shooters. Me dad, Miguel Martinez, was a Marine sniper, the kind of man who teaches you to shoot before you can ride a bike, and he drilled into me that you don't blame your tools, you fix your fundamentals. That's why I was at that range at 6 a.m., why I knew the difference between nerves and skill, why I saw what Rodriguez couldn't. For 8 months I'd been in the background, sweeping brass, fixing targets, learning more than any class could teach. I wasn't supposed to talk range staff or ghosts, just hands, but old habits die hard. Sullivan looks me over, arms crossed, not mad, just curious, then asks, "You think you could do better?" And Rodriguez, man, he's got this smirk, like I'm some joke, but Sullivan ignores him. He just hands me the rifle, cool as you please, sets up the terms, hit the steel, lunge for the teams on him. Miss, and I get to explain myself to his CO. My heart's pounding, but my hands are steady, thanks. Dad and I take my time, check the chamber, shoulder the rifle. It's heavier than what I'm used to, but balanced, like it was built for work, not show. And just when I'm about to line up, Sullivan asks, "What's your background?" And I say, "Military family, learned to shoot from my dad." And suddenly, one of the older FLS Webb, gray streak in his hair, lets out a whistle and says, "Gunny Martinez?" He taught half my unit before his injury. Just like that, the air shifts. Now they're listening. I ask if I can show Rodriguez what he's doing wrong, and Sullivan nods. I drop in a prone, mimic his mistakes, elbow wrong, weight off, cheek weld sloppy, then adjust, show them how a firm but gentle grip gives you control. It's like holding a bird. I say, tight enough it won't fly away, loose enough not to crush it. Even Rodriguez is paying attention now. I demo the trigger, press steady, smooth, not a slap hand when it's time. I find a natural respiratory pause, exhale halfway, settle the crosshairs, and squeeze. The rifle cracks once, twice, 3 times, and when I look up, Sullivan calls out, 3 shots, 2-inch group, dead center. The team's quiet, not stunned, just respectful, like maybe I'm not just the kid who changes targets after all. Rodriguez tries to play it off. Nobody hits a group like that first time, but Sullivan shuts him down. He asks why I'm not shooting professionally, and I tell him the truth, I am in nursing school. This is just a job to help pay the bills. And that's when Webb steps up, tells me what I did wasn't just decent, it was expert-level shooting, under pressure with an audience, and most people fall apart with eyes on them. Not me. I'm not used to praise, not from men like my dad, but I flush anyway, awkward. Rodriguez, humbled now, asks if I could do it again, maybe it was luck. Sullivan says I've proven my point. But then he asks how I diagnosed Rodriguez's issues from 50 yards away. I just tell him you watch enough people, you start to see patterns. Dad always said teaching someone to shoot is harder than learning to shoot. You have to know why they're missing. Right then, a black sedan rolls up. Commander Harrison steps out, range CO, all business. I'm still holding the Navy rifle, hard in my throat, but Sullivan covers for me, tells Harrison what happened, and the commander actually remembers my dad calls him an excellent instructor. He looks through the scope, checks the targets, and just says, that's not recreational shooting. That's precision. Tells Sullivan to keep him updated. Then, after Harrison leaves, Sullivan leans in and says, you didn't just impress a SEAL team. You caught the attention of our CEO. That doesn't happen every day. He asks if I'd sit in on some advanced training unofficially, just observe, maybe give pointers. I say yes before I can think better of it. And by the next week, I'm standing behind the firing line, not as a range ghost, but as a quiet observer with a red visitor badge and a blank notebook. I watch everything as setups, the tension in a shooter's jaw, the difference between confidence and overcompensation. I never speak unless asked, but when I do, it changes the outcome. Even Rodriguez, after a few days, quietly asks for feedback, and when I give it, he listens. In that world, respect comes in silence and nods, not applause. Over 2 months, I become part of the background, never overstepping, just there. Sullivan asks if I've thought about qualifying officially, says I'm better than most instructors on trigger discipline. I shrug it off, say I'm not military, but he tells me half of them weren't either before they joined, and there's an instructor course coming up, civilians allowed. He offers to put in a word, says talent wasted is a crime, and because I didn't wait for permission to step up, I earned it. 2 weeks later, I'm observing an instructor assessment when a civilian contractor tries to show off a new sniper scope state-of-the-art. Idiot-proof, he says. But the mirage is thick, the scope's not calibrated, and I say he'll miss. He does, twice, and Harrison, annoyed, is ready to call it, but the contractor throws it back. Let's see your range girl take a shot. The air goes cold. Sullivan checks with Harrison. Harrison checks with me. I nod. The black talon feels heavy in my hands, not just weight, but history. I dial in, make my own adjustments, catch the wind, and as the target swings 1,000 yards out, I settle, exhale, squeeze, and the plate clangs dead center. There's a long silence. Sullivan whispers, that's my girl. Harrison says, if I ever change my mind about nursing school, he knows people who'd train me. That evening, as the sun sets and the ocean wind mixes with the last trace of gunpowder, I sit alone, staring at my hands calloused, steady, not just from cleaning brass, but from stepping up when it mattered. Sullivan finds me, hands me a gray patch with a subdued, try not official, just symbolic says Webb had it made, not for a uniform for my rifle bag. You earned it, Martinez. Not because of your name, because you showed up when it counted. I clip it on, stand up, and walk toward my car as the stars come out. I'm not just the kid cleaning up after everyone anymore. I'm the one they call when precision matters, when silence means focus, not fear. And when I look through the scope now, I'm not just hearing my father's lessons and building my own legacy, one trigger pull at a time. Yeah, that happened. And I can't help but wonder, would you have spoken up or kept your head down? Sometimes, that's what changes everything. So let me hear it when you see something wrong. Do you speak up? Or do you wait for permission? Drop your take in the comments, because in this world, maybe the real shot that counts is the one you don't let pass you by.